Thank you, Preet, for introducing me and bringing me to the conference. My name's Carolann Merchant. I'm a product designer at Bleacher Report. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in Oklahoma, and I live in Oakland, California now. I've been here for about 8 years. I'm a big Oklahoma City Thunder fan and a big Warriors fan, a big A's fan. So shout out to my teams. And today I want to talk about leadership paths for IC designers. I've had a lot of conversations with my past managers about my career path. All of my growth opportunities seem to lead to management, but what if I don't want to transition into being a manager yet? I'm kind of learning how to create my own path for growing as a designer and as a leader. So I've been a designer for 8 years now. I started as a product designer and then I was promoted to a senior designer. And I've had this title senior designer now for almost 5 years. And the topic of promotions has always involved moving into management. And this is typically how designers gain seniority and influence in organizations. But I'm not exactly interested in becoming a manager yet. Telling my managers I want to work towards a promotion, but I don't want to become a manager has usually created a lot of confusion in those conversations. If I don't want to become a manager, but I do want to grow my skill set and I want to have my title and compensation reflect that, there's not always a clear path forward. The next question that my managers usually ask me is, what do I want to do with my life? And, behind that question is basically like, well, what do you want exactly if you don't want to become a manager? And my problem is that I don't know. Some people want to buy a house, they're saving for kids, they have, family members that they want to provide for, they want to travel. And I want to do some of those things, but I really struggle to know what my future is going to look like. And I'm sure a lot of us are facing similar unknowns. I've had all kinds of career aspirations. I've wanted to own my own grocery store. I've wanted to run my own bingo hall because I'm from Oklahoma. We play a lot of bingo there. I've also wanted to be an EMT. But for right now, I'm a designer. This is what I do every day. And I don't think I need to answer a question like, what do I want to do with my life, just to know that I want to get to the next level of my career. I recommend reading Tanner Christensen's blog on where I see designers go once they peak. And I'm sure we can share the link with you guys after this talk. I won't rehash a lot of what Tanner's done a really great job of writing, but I wanted to point out a thought that he included in what he wrote. Tanner wrote that it's time we as an industry start seeing the career track of individual contributors as that on par with people managers. It's not lesser to choose to be an IC, and it's not really an upward leap to move from IC work into people management. These things are different, both are equally needed on any sizable team, and both of those things matter. And as a designer who wants to continue down the IC path, what I want is to be involved at increasingly strategic levels in the business. For example, if this year I've sufficiently demonstrated that I can work with my PM and engineering counterparts to develop the high level goals and roadmaps across multiple teams, then by next year, I should be moving into the group of people that help set the direction by which teams will be making their roadmaps. But managing companies, it seems like you can't move up in influence unless you're managing people. Why is that? Managers should be experts in people, processes, and organizations. But where are the experts in craft and the industry of our business? I think it's worth taking a little bit of time to discuss if a title really matters when it comes to leadership. After all, leadership is not about having a title or authority given to you. Leadership is about influence and making the people around you better. Steph Curry is a two-time MVP winner, and it's not because he's so good at basketball. It's because he makes the people around him better. You can see that when Steph Curry is on the court, points in general go way up. Not just the points that Steph is scoring himself, but the points that his teammates are scoring as well. That's leadership. So, why do titles and promotions matter? Well, they do, but they don't. Across all companies that I've worked at, I've seen people make assumptions about people's roles, responsibilities, and what they can contribute based on their titles. If your title doesn't accurately reflect what you can contribute, it will take you longer to establish that with people, which can create a lag on your opportunities and the contributions that you have a chance to make. If you change jobs, people are not likely to hire you into a role that's above the title you already have at your current job. It can keep you locked in and slow down your pace of growth. And let's not forget your earning power over time. So, for this conversation, let's agree that titles are not about ego. Titles should be reflective of what a person is contributing so that they have room to operate to their potential. In the past few years, I think we've already seen some companies adopt a structure that begins to create a deeper path for IC designers. After senior, you often see lead, and mostly nobody knows what that means. It's like you're a senior designer, but you've shown you can do a few things beyond the scope of what a senior designer usually works on. As a senior designer, you have experience in your craft. You can run projects end to end, and you should be solid on our hard skills and have reliable product thinking. As a lead designer, you're doing all of that stuff. You probably also have knowledge and influence outside of just a single area of ownership. And you're seeing how all the pieces of the puzzle come together across multiple teams, probably able to provide valuable input to all of those teams. And you're helping create a cohesive product experience. And that's kind of just boiling it down to day to day differences in the work. Of course, there's a lot of differences if we were to make an exhaustive list that we could include. And after lead, I've started seeing roles for staff designers, and they seem to be contributing more toward the strategy of the company than just contributing towards specific product areas. And they typically seem to have more visibility with leadership. And then after staff, you'll probably see something called principal. And to me, this role gets even more murky. But I suppose this person has even more responsibility. Maybe they're leading research that drives company vision. Maybe they're, a really excellent systems thinker. They're great at garnering support from executives and leadership, working across organizations to push the whole product forward. And as you progress through these roles, it seems like you're probably doing less and less of things like actual mock-ups, wireframes, and you're having influence over other parts of the creative decision making. And most importantly, you're probably mentoring other designers and helping them feel supported to take the lead in their roles as well. Okay, so I should note that looking through all of these job descriptions for all of these roles on LinkedIn, reading a ton of articles in preparation for this talk, the one thing that was really clear is that there's not a lot of consensus about the differences between these roles, how these roles are defined, and there's definitely not consensus on how to evaluate if somebody is qualified for them. So it's clear that as an industry, we need to standardize these roles, what the expectations are of people at these levels, and how to demonstrate those capabilities. We need to stop looking at IC roles as lesser than managerial roles and appreciate what a deep knowledge of craft can contribute to an organization. And we need to keep having these conversations so that we create more leadership opportunities for our design peers and for our future designers. The structure of roles has been different at pretty much every place that I've worked. So it's hard to have a linear path when every company does it differently. Even harder when not every company has a path for leadership that doesn't involve people management. So when there's no clear path for you, you have to create your own. And you have to let go of a little bit of your ego. I've noticed that other people in companies that I've worked at have been promoted faster than me. Or friends that I have that, I worked with previously have gone on to other jobs and are getting promoted and getting those titles and getting those pay bumps. And, it can leave me feeling like, wow, am I really just not making any progress? Am I not paying attention to my life? But I would say that I've learned not to compare my path or my progress to anybody else's. I'm doing it my way. And regardless of the roles that exist at any company, I think about my growth in this way. I want to be better this year than I was last year. I don't want to be stagnant. My current manager and I talk about this a lot. I don't want to come to work and every project just feels like rinse and repeat. I'm just doing the same thing over and over again that I've been doing for the past 5, 8 years. As ICs, we want to grow and challenge ourselves. We want to learn more and become better at the things that we're doing. We want to tackle bigger problems that are strategic to the business. And we want to be challenged to find more opportunities for our business that could create new streams of revenue and work for our team. So, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, I did my homework. The average worker today stays at their job for about 4.5 years. And the expected tenure of our youngest employees is about half of that. I wish that we could be open and talk about this with our managers and our reports. If I'm likely to stay at a job for 2 to 3 years, what can we do at that time that would help me learn and advance in my career? If your report is coming up on the cliff of a likely time for them to change jobs, could we be having conversations about things like, if I were to look for a new job today, what would I be looking for that's different than the job I have right now? What have I not done yet that I would really like to take on and try to accomplish at this job? But these kinds of conversations require a certain level of trust and openness, and not everyone has the luxury of being so open and honest with their managers, which makes this really difficult to talk about. If you are job hunting, I would recommend that you think about what you want to get out of working at a company. Is it experience on different platforms, a new industry, more complex system? Look at the company's career ladders. Ask if you can see how their roles are defined. Do you see a path for yourself toward leadership and growth? Ask about how their performance reviews work. When was the last time a designer at that company was promoted? And of course, into what kind of role? Was it a leadership role or a managerial role? They say that 1/3 of your life is spent at work, which is a lot. I don't want to have these conversations and encourage us to take on extra work or do extra hours all in the search of promotions and growth and opportunity. It's so easy to get focused on achieving our goals at work that we forget to connect with important parts of our identity outside of work. Going above and beyond is good. Being a high achiever is good. But I would say be sure that all of that effort is bringing you results that will benefit you personally long term. Your personal goals and the company's goals should overlap. It should be a mutually beneficial arrangement. If you ask for more work, they're going to give it to you. You can work twice as hard, twice as fast, and meet every deadline and still not be making progress. Don't live to work. If you don't get the promotions or see the growth opportunities you're hoping for, just know that nobody's keeping score. Earn your money, focus on important things in life like making good memories, being there for the people you care about, and helping others. Thank you.